Hello everyone, so I made a plugin for making inventories from scratch, which is pretty straightforward, and it can help you a lot if you are making an inventory system. This helps you to build the inventory system from scratch in hours or maybe less. So let's see how this works. So if I play to show you the demo, basically this is the inventory system. For now, it consists of three sections. First is the inventory itself, which is these slots like this, and then the crafting section, which allows you to craft things, and another section here, which shows the active crafting in progress. So let's say you want to build an axe. This basically tells you here, down here, what is needed to build this component or this item. It tells you here you need 2 woods and 1 iron to craft an axe, but you don't have anything in the inventory. So I have some debug keys to add items to in the inventory. 1, 2. Now I have enough enough of these dependencies. And if I craft, I see a progress here that allows me to see the progress of the crafting, and when it's done, you see it here in the inventory. Visible here, and you can basically see if I want to craft a sword. You see it tells me you need an iron and you need a rock and 1 wood. So if I have a debug key for adding rock. Now I can craft this. You see the progress, and I can cancel this anytime I want, and when it finished, I can see the sword added to my inventory automatically. Done. So this is the current progress and what you can do with the system. The system is fully working with multiplier modules, and you can basically use this in multiplier games, and everything is replicated and multiplier ready. Let's see how easy is this and how this basically works. So first of all, each item you see is basically registered here in a data inside a data table. The data table is located here in the, if you go to the project settings and scroll down to find Dino, you see Dino inventory settings, and here is the registry data. This basically represents every possible item in your game. But let's do something. Let's say we want to add another item. Let's say I want to add a grass. So I'm come here, call this grass. Each item is represented by a tag. So you basically use a gameplay tag. So it will be inventory.item.grass. And then you would add a name, grass. And then you can have description and the type, consumable or equipable. That does not matter for now. And then you need an icon. I have an icon for grass. And then you would need to specify if this is something you can craft or not. For me, grass is not something that you would craft. You just find it or collect it in the scene. So this is how I added a new item. Now let's add a craftable item. So if I go here and call this, let's say HP or health point, let's just call this HP here. I'm going to call this item.health point. The tag will be inventory.item.health point. You can add the tag anything you want. And call this health point. And I'm going to use this HP icon just like a potion or what. And then I want this to be craftable. So here in the crafting data, I'm going to specify this as a craftable. So by adding this as a craftable, now it tells me what is needed to basically craft this potion. I would basically add 2 items, or for now, let's just add 1. Let's say this item requires a grass to be crafted. So I would say this needs a dependency of type grass and needs 2 grass, which is the quantity, required quantity, means 2 of this item needs to be used in order to make 1 of these health points. So by doing so, if I now play, you will see directly the health point is added to the craft items So it's automatically added to the craft section for you, and now you can select it. And when you do select it, you see it tells you it needs grass and needs 2 grasses. So you have to have grass. Now I have a debug key here, which is 4, that basically tells the inventory system add item to inventory, and the item is inventory.item.grass, which means my grass item here. So by calling this node, this will go and add 2 of inventory.item.grass to my inventory. So now if I click 4, I get 2 grasses, and if I select my potion, now I have enough data to craft this item. Craft, and it will play it here. So basically this is how easy this works, and you can customize everything here. So let's see how. So in the widget section, you have first what's called Dino Inventory. Dino Inventory is basically what you see here, this section. Here. So this is basically the inventory. It's called widget Dino _ inventory. This is pretty much set up in C++. You don't see much code here. But what you see here is you have some settings to play around with this. So the first thing is you can, for example, modify the padding. So you see the padding works perfectly and everything updated on time. So 5 seems to be very good for me. You can specify the number of columns. For example, let's say I want 12. So the inventory will be just wide like this. Or let's say I want 2. So inventory will be something like this for me. So it will be 2, and then you specify the numbers of the row. But now if I, let's say, play, let me just come here and show you the other part. So we have something called widget Dino layer, which is basically only for testing, which adds the inventory crafting section and the active crafting here, so it's visible for us. But what's important here is every part of these are customizable. Let's say I want this to be 2. If I play, you see the inventory looks something like this wide here. This might confuse you, but first let's see why this is like this. Basically, the number you see here called inventory columns is the number of possibly columns you can have in your inventory. Now 1 and 2, that's it. That's why in the game you only see 1 and 2. But you might ask why there are too much of this. It's because the number of slots of an inventory is controlled by the inventory component itself. Now we have 12 here. So if I change this for something like 6, now we are up to 6 slots and represents like this. So again, this column represents how they will show up here, and this 3 is basically the number of possible slots in your inventory, which is basically a part of the Dino inventory component. So all you need to do is add this to your player, and that's it. And things I also want to show, for example, here in the crafting section, it's pretty much very well designed, and you can use it for your game. And every part is separate widget, so you can customize this later for yourself. And also this part, the name, the section, the cancel section. You can also allow or disallow cancellation for this. So you have allow canceling, which basically represents this thing. So now if I craft some item, I cannot cancel this because I basically turned off that that setting here. So yeah, I don't want to go deep into this, but I just wanted to show some demo of how the inventory system works. Let me set this back to the normal values. But what is important here, I would want to tell you that we have everything in separate widgets, and it's in the content of the Dino widget. But what's important here, this widget Dino layer is something that I just added for testing. When I spawn this, I am just passing in the owning inventory component, and then I use that owning inventory component here in the begin play to initialize or register this, or register the inventory, the crafting, and the active list. And this is how it looks. I can also add grass. I can craft or add items very easily. Let me show you how the C++ side of this works. So the main important class here is the Dino inventory component .h and .cpp, of course, but the class is very straightforward, and you have delegates here for when crafting added, when crafting on progress, crafting canceled, or crafting completed, and when item added or removed, of course. You have everything replicated. We have something called craft workers. Craft workers are completed, and they are representing the crafting progress when you are starting to craft something. And you have add item and remove item from the inventory, which is fully replicated. You also have section for crafting item and cancel crafting. You have these all exposed to blueprint as well. Now, I would simply want to show you how you can do something with this using your keys. So now let's say I want to do something when I press space. So space bar. Alright, here we have space bar. Now I have inventory component. I can do much with this component. For example, if I want to add item. So when you want to add an item, all you add is the tag of the item, because the registry already knows about each item. You only pass the tag. This makes it very light over the network. So let's say I want to add an item when I press space. Let's say I want to add an X. Inventory item.x. Inventory item.x is basically this one, because the tag matches inventory.item.x. So when I press play, when I add space, I get 1x, 2, 3, 4. I can add as much as I want. And let's do something. Let's try to do some other thing here. Or let's just, or you can also remove item from inventory. Just works the same way. Or you can start crafting an item. So everything happens on the component, but expose it to the UI. So if you want to craft an item, you'll basically select the X, and you can press space to craft, but nothing happens because you don't have you don't have dependencies for making an X. So if you click it, you see you need 2 woods and 1 iron. How this specified? If you go to the Dino items and select on X, you see you have something called crafting data. Crafting data has a crafting policy that specifies if this is something you can craft or not. So here, craftable, which means you can craft this item. You have a duration for crafting, which is 4 seconds for now, and then you have crafting dependencies, which basically are the items you need to make this item. So to make an X, you basically need inventory. You need a wood, 2 of woods, and you need 1 iron. Let's say now I would make it to be 6 or just 5 irons. If I play now and if I select X, you see it tells me you need 6. Hopefully this is big enough. 6 or 5 irons for this to be crafted. Let's say I want to add 1 more dependency. I'll just add 1 more. Let's say I add a grass to be included as well. So when I select this, it tells me you also need a grass. So everything is very well packed to be made very easily. So you can add as much as many items as you want, and the inventory will basically read every information for you. And this is fully network replicated. You also get lots of delegates here. So if you click on this, you see item added, item removed, craft worker added, craft worker progress, canceled, and completed. So you get everything here for you to build your inventory. So you can also listen to each delegate separately. So you can spawn each UI separately. Let's say I want to spawn another UI, for example, here. So I can use widget Dino inventory. So widget Dino inventory takes in the owning component. So if I do this, I only see the inventory component off top, and that still listens to what's basically added. And I can also only listen to the crafting screen. So widget Dino inventory craft. So this only shows the crafting section. This is a bit messed up, so that's why you also need to use it within another canvas or something like this. But the thing is, these components, if you go to their implementation, they don't have much in Blueprint, but they pretty much listen to everything that is changing on the component. So that's how they're built. You can also modify these classes. So let's say these items are called craft items or craftable items. You can modify them one by one. And same for this. You also have everything to modify here. For example, the columns. Let's say you go for 3, it will modify here. You go for 4, this modifies here. So you can modify pretty much everything here. I made it to where you can modify almost everything to make it customizable and look exactly the way you want. So that's why I kind of like to call this a modular inventory component. The next step for me as the developer is to add keys here, basically to like actions for these items. So let's say you want to right click and see some actions here. This is something I'm going to work on, but you can explore this and basically use this to fit your needs and make inventories way faster. And you of course have access to the source code, to the widgets, and everything you see in the video, including the plugin. So that's it. I will get back to you when I have updates on this. Take care for now.